First Timothy, first chapter, 15th through the 16th verse. Chief sinner, molded in the pattern for salvation. I'm just going to say that Paul is saying, or giving my testimony, and I'm taking his testimony as mine because he's actually thanking Jesus who enabled him and allowed him to be called faithful by putting him into the ministry of Christ, calling him to preach, stopping him from doing the things as he was doing as he was on the road of Damascus. And Paul is simply testifying and saying, I was a blasphemer, a persecutor, and I read that and recognized that just like he was, I was faithful and blessed that the Lord counted me faithful enough to call me into a ministry after I was a stud from the street, a hoodlum, gangbanger, drug pusher, drug user, womanizer, adulterer, all those things that I did. Matter of fact, when I looked at Paul and the things he did other than killing people, I feel like my life was even worse than Paul. And Paul said, out of all the things I did, the Lord called me to preach for him. And so I thought about that and recognized the same thing was implied for me. The Lord called me in spite of all the things I was doing and gave me mercy because even though I might not have known it, he knew that I was doing what I was doing wantonly and enjoying it, but I was ignorant while I was doing it. And so through my ignorance, he gave me grace and mercy. And that's what that scripture is saying. He gave me grace and mercy, gave me his abundant love, which is actually what the ministry of Christ is all about. Jesus came into this world to save sinners. And when I looked at that and Paul added, in whom I am the chief, I recognized it was talking about me. I was a chief sinner. I don't think nobody was worse than I was. And the Lord saved me in spite of it. And not only saved me, but brought me out of that ignorance and made me a model and is still trying and using me to try to make me a model that I can be a pattern for those who are oncoming like me to think that there is no hope for them. Because certainly if there was hope for Paul, and certainly if there was hope for me, who both of us felt and feel as if we were chief sinners, then there's certainly hope for those who come after us, that the Lord can do the same for them. And so I'm hoping that my days to come and my days before I leave here, that the Lord make me a model that someone can pattern their lives after doing all the things and being what I was prior to him calling me into this ministry.